Hi, everyone. Welcome to your first day at Ross. This is going to be kind of an addition to your orientation, just more going through the course and first day things and going over the books and labs to an extent. So first of all, we're really happy that you're here. I am Amy Dungler. I am the Associate Program Chair for Ross College for the Pharmacy Technician Program. I have been with Ross for about 6 years now, and I have been a pharmacy technician for 18 years. So I'm really excited that you're all going to join us in the field of pharmacy. It is a very rewarding career, so I'm excited that you're all here. So we're going to take a deep dive into Brightspace. So the first thing that I want to point out is that when you're logging into Brightspace, you always want to make sure you're at this web address, which is online.rosseducation.edu. The rest of the stuff doesn't matter. This will take you to our homepage. So if you just go to Google and search for Brightspace, you're likely going to find tons of other schools' Brightspace accounts. So you don't want to, if you try logging into those, of course, it's going to say your password's not working. So you always want to make sure you're here. And I do not recommend downloading the Brightspace app. So again, this is available to a wide variety of schools and platforms, and it's just not the most accurate version of the course. You're not going to see everything like you should. So you want to make sure you have a computer, you're using your computer, not a tablet, not a phone to access this. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and log in. All right, so once you log in, you should see your courses. You're not going to see all of these courses. I have tons of them on my dashboard, but you should see a 401 Intro to Pharmacy, and then there should be another one, 402, which is Pharmacy Operations on my dashboard now, but we are only going to go into 401 for just a second. We'll go to 402 in just a moment. So, if you see them on your dashboard before the course starts, they're going to be grayed out at midnight. The day the course starts, you will be able to access them. So I'm going to click on this right now. And it is going to take me into the course. So, of course, if I were to act as a student like you guys are, when you first log in, this is what it's going to look like to you. You're going to just see these three boxes, um, and you'll see the announcements. So, for the announcements, the first one is just reminding you about your attendance and the attendance policy. And then you should see announcements from your instructors, like introducing themselves, giving you their contact information, um, and whatever. So the first thing that you need to do before you can even start any assignment in the course is go to expectations and policies. We're going to click on that. And to unlock your course module, you need to complete all three of these assessments. It's basically just acknowledging that, you adhere to the academic honesty policy, you adhere to the code of conduct, and you adhere to our online lab proficiencies and hands-on activities. So if you don't complete all three of these, it will not let you see the course. So I'm going to just go into the academic honesty policy and show you what you can expect. So it's going to just open up and tell you to, the directions, the description, and how to complete the academic honesty policy. So when you first log in, you're going to see that you have unlimited tries. I mean, you shouldn't have to do it once you complete it, but you do have unlimited tries. So Usually students will tell me like, oh, I've done that. And here is kind of the trick on that. So if you come in later and it's still not letting you see your classes, you should be able to look down here and see if you actually completed it all the way through. So, I haven't, so it says completed 0. Not letting me take the quiz because I am acting as you guys, and right now the courses aren't open, so let me just change to myself. Now, if I wanted to do the academic honesty policy, same thing again, of course. But now I'm going to hit start quiz. So the quiz will give you the whole academic honesty policy, and um, it goes into plagiarism and cheating and things like that. And then you want to scroll all the way back to the bottom and answer question number 1. Whatever you put here is going to give you access to the courses. It's not part of your final grade. It doesn't affect your grade at all. So, you can obviously try to put the right answer, but it's not going to matter. So, um, we'll say false on this, and then we're going to hit submit quiz. Now, if that's all you do, and you'd be, click off this and start trying to do other things, this is not submitted. This actually says you're about to submit your quiz. So this is a common thing that I see with students not being able to get into their courses. You want to make sure that you fully submitted it. So I'm going to hit submit quiz. And then you should see this screen. Your work has been saved and submitted. That is the only way that it's going to work. And then you're going to do that for all of these things. So the acknowledgement of online proficiencies, you're going to do that the exact same way. You're going to, hit start quiz. You're going to, hit confirm there, submit quiz. Again, you are about to submit your quiz. You want to make sure you hit submit quiz. And there you go. You have the check mark that you've submitted your quiz. And this is actually the same format that our assignments are going to use. So you want to make sure that you're fully submitting assignments. And again, the Ross Code of Conduct, same way. Start quiz, read through the Code of Conduct, and then say, yes, I acknowledge. And although it says it's worth 100 points, it's not calculated to your final grade. Again, you're about to submit quiz. We want to make sure that we're actually hitting submit. All right, so let's go back to the course content. So I recommend accessing the content from the content tab. You guys will have a little bit less tabs here than I do, but this is going to be the best way to make sure that you can see everything. So let's go back to that welcome. Um, so we did our expectations and policies. Likely you'll be starting at the welcome and working your way down. That is a good way to do everything. So the first thing on the welcome is there's a couple links that say, meet your instructor, a copy of your course syllabus, a troubleshooting page. It gives some device and browser requirements. And we're just going to click on the meet your instructors. So your instructors will introduce themselves through the announcements, and they will probably be reaching out to you either, the first day or the second day. But let's just go through some of the instructors. So, um, for all of you new students, you are all going to have the same instructor, and you will also have the same instructor next mod. So, of course, here's me, the associate program chair. You can see my email and phone number. Next, we have Amy Wells, who is one of our Science Interactive Lab instructors. You can see the email for the labs and her phone number, and you can schedule a tutoring session with her. We have Audrey, who is going to be a teaching assistant. So there's her email and phone number. We have Danielle, who is going to be a teaching assistant. Um, Next, we have Deborah, who is the program chair. So she will be working with you guys um, quite a bit during the beginning of your program, just monitoring your grades and helping wherever needed. And then next we have Heather Holmes. She's another one of our Science Interactive Lab instructors. So her and Amy will be your lab instructor with you for likely the rest of your program. Next, we have Joe Silvestri. He is our externship coordinator. So he's going to reach out to you about licensing, going on externship, and things of that nature. So he'll be there with you basically the whole time as well. Next, we have Carrie Baker, who is also a teaching assistant. So there is her email, phone number, and how to schedule a tutoring session. Next, you have Missy Swanson. She is going to be the primary instructor for your course. There's her email, phone number, and how to schedule tutoring session with her. So she will be the one overseeing the whole entire course with all of these teaching assistants. So I'm going to go back to content. And the next thing that we can find is the academic resources. So here there's some, different things here in this area that might help you along in your journey. But we also have, again, the Meet Your Instructors page on the screen, the Gale Virtual Library. So you can use that and you should use that, for your discussions and, it could help you with studying and things like that. There's that troubleshooting guide for Brightspace and Vital Source. And then last but definitely not least, we have the homework hotline, which we call tutoring. It's tutoring. So, the amazing thing is every day from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 days a week, you can instantly click this homework hotline and connect with a live tutor. It's usually like a 1 to 2 minute at most wait time before someone will get on to help you. Um, they can help you with everything from labs to discussion boards to homework to quizzes to preparing for the national exam, things of that nature. Um, Really awesome feature. So all you do is you click on the homework hotline. Um, I'm recording this before they're here. Um, but what basically happens is the screen pops up and it'll tell you that you have to enter your Ross email address. So you can enter at with any name. Um, makes the most sense, obviously, to use your name, but it has to be, you have to use your Ross email address or it will not allow you in. It also lists your advisors here if you need to get in contact with them. Likely you'll probably already have their phone number. So such a nice resource that we have here at Ross. All right. And then we can go into the syllabus. So the syllabus is just going to lay out the course for you. Goes over grading and expectations, hours, and then it kind of lists week 1, week 2, all the things that we're going to do, and so on and so forth. Next thing we have is the academic resources. We already went through that. We already went through the expectations and policies. So let's click on textbooks and web programs. So in this course, you're going to have access to virtual copies of your textbook. That is included in your tuition. So there's no charge for those. Um, if you want an actual paper book, I know a lot of students will say, like, I need that. They usually, um, will go on Amazon and purchase those. They're not covered by us. We don't purchase them for you, and we can't order them from you. So you can go on Amazon and purchase the book if that's how you think you'll learn better. I just try to discourage students from doing that because we have 5 textbooks. So if you went out and bought 5 different textbooks throughout the program, it's going to get pricey when you already have that cost in your tuition. So me as a person who thought I needed to have um, an actual paper book, I will say it is much better than you think. Um, and you can use it in different ways to kind of help, you know, yourself study. So I just ask you to give it a chance. All right, so we have all of our different books here. Um, we have the Getting Started with Bookshelf. So that's not a required book, but that is there to kind of help you with the bookshelf. So our main textbook is going to be this Mosby's Pharmacy Technician Principles and Practice, 7th edition. And then also we're going to be using the Math Calculations for Pharmacy Technicians, 4th edition. We will also be using this mod, the Pharmacy Technician Exam Review book. So that book is, made to help you be able to pass the national exam when you're done with this program. One thing that we do is we incorporate assignments and topics from that textbook during your regular course instruction, just so you're more comfortable with those kind of questions. You see what it's more like, and the book is really helpful to study from because it's made up of bullet points. All right, so we can click on the textbook from here, right? But also we can click on them from the week. So I am going to do that. I'm going to go to week 1 module. For you guys, the rest of this should not be visible yet. So you should, after you do your academic honesty policy, your code of conduct, and your online acknowledgement, you should only see the week 1 module. If you don't see that after doing it, that means you probably likely didn't submit it properly. So you'll want to go back in and redo them. And remember, you can see if you've actually submitted it by the unlimited mark where it says how many times you've done. All right, let's go to week 1. All right, so for week 1, we always have a little description of what you're going to do for the week. And then we usually have some type of study material that I've come up with. Um, so we usually try to post the slides from the PowerPoints for the chapters. Um, we will post things that are helpful for you this week, like the SIG code master list. So this you're going to want to have and study for the whole program. I recommend learning these sooner rather than later. It's going to help you learn the math better and complete the math better. And it's going to help you through various assignments in the program. Once you go to externship, they basically expect that you know all of these. So, knowing them is going to pretty much wow them on their first day. So, you can make digital flashcards on Quizlet or some type of interactive website, or you can make the old-fashioned, um, index card. And I used to like to take them with me wherever I went. So if I had to wait for a moment or I had a free moment, I would go through my sig codes. That is going to help you with one of your assignments for the first week. Okay, so now we're at the required learning activities. So you're going to see read chapter 1, abbreviation symbols and basic mathematical skills for health occupation. You click on this, it's going to take you directly to that chapter in the book. And then below it, we have view the chapter 1 lecture. So all of your lectures for the courses have been pre-recorded already and they're in the weekly content. So, um, here's the video. It's a YouTube video, so it's going to take you directly to YouTube. Um, and you can subscribe to my channel so that way you have all of these videos for you at your convenience when you're done with the program and when you're studying for that national exam. So right now, let's go ahead and click in the book. So while that loads, all right. So we are just gonna, it looks like it took us to a weird spot in the chapter, but we're just gonna go up to one. Um, you can see that every chapter is kind of like that. So there's, a unit, it says 3, 4, 5, 6. Then if you click down, there's more tabs. Um, this is the math book. So you can just kind of see the math book's different than our other books in the fact that when you hit next, it takes you to the next page as if you are reading, your actual textbook. Um, some amazing things that help with this textbook is the use of Control F. So if you hit Control F on your computer, you'll see this box pop up. It might look a little different depending on what computer you have. But if you're looking for something specific, like for your homework or discussions, you can type that in. So let me just type in symbols. So it's telling me that the symbols are in this chapter 6 times. And when I say in this chapter, it basically means on the screen. So with this being open, it's taking the 2 times that it's in the index. So we don't really need those, but it doesn't matter. We can just hit this down arrow and it's going to take us to each time. Also, one thing you can do is search across the book. Just make sure that you have the correct spelling and you don't search for too much, like a whole sentence, because it will be hard for it to find it. You can change, this is with all books, you can change the zoom, the highlighters, the sharing. Like I said, this book is a little bit different than the rest of ours. Um, but I'll go over that in just a second. So that's all there. There is a read aloud feature. So you can click on this and it will basically read the book the book to you. I do recommend just watching the lecture video where I pretty much do that as well, but whatever works for you. And you can see you can make flashcards with our books and bookmarks and all that stuff. So let's go out of that and look at the rest of our requirements for the week. So we went over our learning activities. Now we're at the graded assignments and assessments. So the first assignment that you're going to have in both classes, so remember you're taking 401 and 402 at the same time. They're running concurrently, meaning they're running at the same time. Each week, whatever assignments you have are due on the same day in the other course. So, um, our week one check-in is due on the November 6th in this course, so it will be due on November 6th in the other course. The discussion's the same thing. You have a discussion in each course. They're due on the same day. Homework as well. So let's go to the week one check-in. I opened it into a new window. But so the check-ins are basically just asking you a question, um, maybe about what we're learning, sometimes it's a fun question, sometimes it's, more serious, sometimes we're trying to like gauge where you're at with things. Um, I always tell everybody that as long as you complete it, you're getting 100 points. If you don't complete it, then you get no points. It is 5% of your final grade, so it can have a pretty big impact if you don't complete it. And like I said, all you have to do is respond. If you don't want to tell us why you want to be a pharmacy technician, just simply write, "Hey, I'm checking in." You'll still get your points. So that is the topic for this week. You're going to go to start a new thread. You'll make a subject for it and you will answer that question and hit post. So that's all you're doing for that. That's your first assignment and it's due on the first day of the mod in each course. The next assignment we have is the week one discussion. So the discussion goes a little bit more into detail with the directions. And then it says step one, post your response to the discussion board. So that part's due on 11/7/25, and you're going to read the question. So how can pharmacy technicians ensure that they are using the correct units of measurement and mathematical formulas when performing drug calculations? And what strategies can be employed to avoid errors in these critical tests? So I always get students that ask me, okay, well, I don't know. It's the first day. What do I do? So you're going to get your answers for your discussions from an array of places. So first and foremost, the book that we're using for this chapter. So the discussion topics are always going to be the chapter that we're learning that week from that. So you're going to go there. That's probably going to be your best place to get your answer. Also, you can Google things, just make sure you're citing your sources. Just put a link to wherever you got the information at the bottom of your post. Um, and then sometimes the discussion boards are made up of all of those things, but also like personalized questions that, might be personal to you, and you could expand upon them. And then next, it says that you need to read other students' or instructors' posts and respond to at least two. So that's due by 11/12/25, which is the end of our first week. So you're basically, once you post your response, you'll see everybody else's, and then you can go through and respond to two other students. Your responses should be more than I agree or I like this or good job or nice. We want to try to make it like 1 to 2 sentences, and the goal is to keep the conversation going throughout the week. So that is all required to receive 100% on the discussion board. The discussion boards are 15% of your final grade. It makes a huge impact on your final grade if you do not complete it. And it also has a pretty high impact on your grade if you only do step one. So you want to make sure that both steps are done before the due date. The next thing that we have is the homework. So we're doing our week one homework out of chapter one, so the textbook we just used. So you're gonna click on this, and everything has its due date right on it, so you'll know. It's gonna look a little different for you when you go in. You're going to see this, just like with the acknowledgments that we did. And then you're gonna go to start quiz. It's not gonna let me do that right now because everything's closed. But again, make sure that you're hitting that submit button essentially twice, or it's not going to go through. And that is going to be the same thing for the quiz. So the homework and quizzes both say that they're quiz. Like if you actually look at the description, it's going to say quiz, but so like that says quiz, but it really is homework. They're just in different categories. Basically, anything that we make multiple choice in this program is going to be labeled as a quiz. This down here, the graded quiz, is the only one that's an actual quiz. So that works the same way. You go to preview, you don't go to preview, you'll just see the start quiz. But if I go to preview, I'll see all of that there. You get 3 attempts on your quizzes, and on your homeworks, you get unlimited attempts. So it's definitely best to practice as much as possible in the homework. We always keep your highest grade. That way you can perfect your homework grade as well, but you can perfect your quiz grade. All right. Return to content. One module. Okay. So we skipped a couple of things. So first and foremost, we have the Science Interactive Lab Kit shipping form. So let's click on that. This is going to be due on November 11th. And it basically will tell you about what to do. Um, and then you're going to fill out this Google form. So the address that you're sending your lab kit to Does not have to be your home address. It should be an address that you know there's not going to be porch pirates, you know that somebody might be home to pick up that package. So like your grandma, your parents, maybe your sister, maybe your neighbor can look out for you. You want to basically have a plan in place for when the kit arrives. So you won't get your kit until the first mod is over. So it'll be towards the end. So just make sure you're checking your Ross email once that lab kit ships and arrives at your house. You're responsible for what happens to it from there. Assessments are your labs. So your first lab is due the first week. So it's due on the 11th. So there's a couple things to remember. So again, you don't need your lab kit to do the labs in your first courses. Second, the labs are a requirement to pass the classes. So that means that you could get a 90. Say all your coursework gives you a 90%, but you didn't do the labs or didn't do the lab in that course, then you're going to automatically fail. So we would have to put that in as an F. The labs are 25% of your final grade, so they do make a huge impact on your final grade, but they make the biggest impact in the fact that you can't get away without doing them or you're going to fail. And then failing would mean that you'd have to retake both of the courses um, at the end of your program. So that's going to um, push out your externship and your graduation date quite a bit. So we don't want that. The labs are something that are fun and interactive, and once you get in your later mods, they're really going to give you a glimpse of things you'll be doing in the pharmacy. So for the first week, you have the Getting Started lab. This lab is all about just helping you learn the lab platform and working it, showing you how to upload things and various aspects of that. So you're going to have a separate lab course on your dashboard. Probably on the first or second day of the mod, it will show up. Um, and here's just some directions. So you're going to do the lab in that separate course. When you're done and it's graded, so you'll get, you have to give the instructor some time to grade the labs. They do have to be manually graded, but um, within a few days, you should see what your score was, and you can come back here, click, and you are going to enter in your lab grade here. So say your instructor said that you got a 81.27, and that will be listed on the lab course itself. You hit submit, and then your instructor will verify it, and then it will go towards your grade. All right, so let's take a brief look at 402. So you should see this on your dashboard. I'm going to click in. And again, you will only see these three boxes when you first log in. So just like we did in 401, you have to go through and do those three things again. So you have to do your academic honesty policy, your online lab acknowledgement, and your Ross Code of Conduct. So you're going to click that expectations and policies. You're going to click through each one. And again, same process. Make sure you're hitting submit fully and getting that check mark that it's done. Your let's go over here. Let's go. Your instructors are going to be the same for this course, and they will be the same next time around as well. So all of that is the same. We go here as you so we can see everything. All right. So same thing. Your announcements will be over here. The course is going to look pretty much the same. So once you have done those three acknowledgements, you should see just week one show up for you now. So let's click on week one. And again, we give you a brief synopsis of what we're going to do for the week. And then there is slides. There is a Quizlet that you can go to help practice some of the things that we're learning this week. And then also, I'm a big fan of cheat sheets, so we have these helpful cheat sheets. So there's a basic math reference guide. It tells you how to do everything from converting fractions to decimals all the way to converting decimals to fractions. There is a conversion sheet, temperature conversions. All of that is listed there. The conversion sheet, you can get that just by itself. Same with the temperature conversion formulas, the military time chart, and Roman numerals. Again, there is your homework hotline if you want to refer your students to that. Next, we have read chapter 6, conversions and calculations, and then below it, we have the lecture. I'm going to click into the textbook. This time we're going to be in our main textbook. So it has a little bit of a different format than the math book. All right, so we are using the Mosby's Pharmacy Technician principles and practices. So on the side here, you can see that there are, in section 1, there's 15 chapters, and then there's section 2. If we pull that down, we have the remaining 15 chapters. It did take us to the chapter we're working in, and that's conversions and calculations. All right, so one thing you can see are all the different items in this chapter. If you start from the beginning and scroll all the way down, that is the entire chapter. So one thing you can do is you can highlight, and I know I didn't go over that the last time, but to highlight it, you're just going to hover over it and highlight like you would normally do anything online. Choose whatever highlighter you want, and it's gonna highlight it for you. You can change your highlighters here. You can add more. Now say you don't want this highlighted. You just go ahead and click that and it's gone. If you turn on the fast highlight feature, anything that you like, if say if you were like, oh, I want to highlight all of these objectives. If you turn on the fast highlight feature, it is going to automatically just highlight that for you. So it just depends on what you want. I have accidentally highlighted the whole entire textbook doing that. So, but other than that, the features are the same. You have anytime that you um, highlight something, it's going to show up in your annotations. Anytime that you use emojis or things in the book, those are going to come up as well. Um, Flashcards are here. You can create your own flashcard deck. You can read aloud. You do see the print option. Now, it's only going to let you print um, just a certain number of pages for your license that comes with purchasing this textbook. So you can't print the whole thing out. The whole thing is 756 pages. So I don't recommend that. You will still have access to these after you're done with the program. So there's no need to say to yourself, well, I'm going to print it out before, um, you know, I graduate, so I have it. You don't need to do that. So that's that. Well, let's go to our content. And it's going to be the same layout. So we had our required learning activities here. Now again, we have that week 1 check-in and introduction. So this is a different check-in topic. The check-in is let's get to know each other. Where are you from? And then you tell where you're from. Again, hitting start a new thread, following through with that. There is going to be another discussion, completely different topic. The same rules apply as the first. Um, the first and second, the first due date is on the 7th, and the second due date is on the 12th. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything in both courses on the same day. So, like I said, it's a different topic for the discussion. There's a different homework. There is a different quiz. Obviously, we're learning different things in this course, so that is why. The homework that you have this week in 402 is a SIG code translation assignment. So remember I said you were going to use that SIG code master list quite a bit. You're going to be using it for that assignment. The next thing you're going to see is the week one science interactive lab proficiency assignment. So if we click on this, it's going to tell you that the first lab is due in week two. So we already completed the lab in week one, so there's not going to be another lab for week one. In week two, you're going to see the second lab. So when it says submission, that means that that's due that week. You can also pay attention to the due dates. Um, so the second lab, lab safety, is due next week. So this is just a reminder in week one. We are going to be having an online live orientation for the labs next week. So you'll all get invited to that and you can join in and we'll go over it a little bit more in depth. But this is what you're going to do for week one. The next weeks are going to follow just the same assignments due on the same day in each course. If you have any questions about anything, of course, feel free to reach out to your instructor on day one. You can reach out to myself or Deborah or any of your advisors, and we are all here to watch you make it through this program and start a new fulfilling career.